Welcome to another Stampin' Fun Friday. This week I have this tree die cut card to share with you that's been stamped, embossed, and then I added color to it with distress inks. So the first thing I did is I die cut the tree from white cardstock. I stamped it with that leaf design block stamp from Hero Arts and embossed it with some green embossing powder from American Crafts. And now I'm just taking some of the peeled paint distress ink from Ranger and a foam applicator tool, and I'm just rubbing that ink right over my embossed stamped design. And you just, kind of get some ink on it there and then rub it in really good. And I just covered the whole thing until I got the coverage I wanted. And then I'm just wiping off the extra with a paper towel, anything on top of the embossed image, because the embossed image resists the ink. Now I'm going to take this strip of cardstock that I've cut, and it's 4 1/4 inch wide by 12 inches long, and I scored it. I just made sure that the part in the middle was 5 1/2 inches long. I didn't really measure out exactly the 2 flaps because I'm going to be cutting off a lot of those, but I did make sure that the main part of the card was 5 1/2 inches long, just like a standard sized card would be. So I just took my treetop there that I have finished, and I just laid it on top, and I took a pencil and I drew around that treetop, and there you can see it. So what I'm going to do is fold it back there, and I'm going to trim those 2 top corners right inside my pencil line that I drew. And then I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to cut off that bottom portion. Just going to do that real quick, get rid of all of that extra. Then I'm going to take some adhesive and adhere the top of my tree to the card. So you can see that part is going to open up. It'll flip up and open. So real quick and easy. Now I'm going to take my tree trunk, and you can see it's still white. So I'm going to just add a little adhesive to my work surface so it stays put. And I'm going to take the wood grain, the designer wood grain from Hero Arts, and I'm just going to ink it up with some Versamark and stamp that right on my tree trunk. I really love that you can emboss die cuts, or embellish die cuts rather, with this. You can really customize them any way you want, but this makes it great. It really adds that perfect dimension for a tree. So I've stamped that, and I'm going to take some chestnut, I believe, embossing powder from American Crafts, and I'll just sprinkle that on really good, and I'll heat that up to heat set it. You can see that it'll just really bring out that wood grain design. This is one of my very favorite design block stamps from Hero Arts. So after I have that on, I will use my embossing gun and heat set that. So now I'm going to take some vintage photo distress ink from Ranger, and I'm going to take my foam applicator tool again, and you can see you can change those out really easy, the little foam that goes on the end, and you're going to start off the edge of your project and then work on to whatever you're applying the distress ink to. So I'm just going to make sure and get my tree all covered really good with this vintage photo ink. And you can see that the wood grain design kind of popping out from the ink. I'm going to keep rubbing that in until I just get a really good coverage for my tree. And again, I'm going to take a paper towel and wipe off any of that excess. You can see that any of the ink that's on top of that embossed image will not absorb into the paper, so you want to rub that off. And again, I'm going to lay that on that bottom flap of my card and just take my pencil, draw or trace that tree trunk so I know where I want to cut my card. So I've cut that out, and then I adhered the tree to that flap. You can see the card is really coming together. I'm going to go ahead and take my scissors and cut off the extra from the tree trunk. Get rid of that. And now that I have my tree all adhered to the card, I'm going to go ahead and take some Doodlebug paper frills and ink those up really good to go with the card. And one of my favorite things to do is, this was kind of a limey green paper frill. So I'm going to take the Distress ink and just really carefully take my foam applicator tool and rub in some of that peeled paint Distress ink to change the color of my grass for my card. And it matches now really nicely the rest of the design. I'm going to adhere that right along the bottom of my card. Just going to flip up some of those a little bit to make them look a little bit more real. And now I'm ready to add just a little bit of embellishment, and the design in the top of the tree has these cute little flowers, so I'm going to take some gems from Hero Arts, and I'm going to take some pinks and greens and whites, and I'm just going to adhere them using a craft knife to the stamped images, and you can see now they're kind of coming together, and it just adds a nice little touch and also some color to the top of that card. And I'm going to continue doing that for the rest of the designs on the top of the card there. And now I'm going to take some small little florals from Making Memories, and I'm just going to adhere those to my card with some glue dots. These little mini glue dots. I use these all the time. They're my favorites. And I just took some light pink and dark pink and white flowers, and I'm just going to tuck some of those in behind the grass and whatnot, just to give it a more realistic look. And again, I'm going to take some of these little gems from Hero Arts. These are the little green, pale green ones, and adhere those right to the center of those flowers. And this is how I adhered the greeting from my card. I actually took a long greeting from a Hero Arts set, a clear stamp set, and I cut the words apart and adhered them to my acrylic block. Here's what it looked like. It came in this long strip, and I just cut them apart because I wanted them to be more up and down. So I used some Stays-On ink and stamped that right over the tree trunk. And you'll want to use Stays-On because it won't rub off of the embossed design. And you can always use your stamp set the way it came. You can put it back together. So I really like that you can be real versatile with the clear stamps. And now I'm just going to take a paper piercer and this Doodlebug bird bratty and adhere it right there to my little tree. It just adds the perfect finishing touch to my card. And there you can see the finished card, and it just flips open so you can adhere your greeting, or write your greeting rather, inside of the card. Thanks for watching.